When people get into a comfort zone, they strive to stay in that comfort zone, even if they're not happy with their situation. Often their whole lives pass them by while they're furnishing and reinforcing their little rut of medium performance.
The world owes you nothing. The world doesn't think you're special like your mom does. It doesn't think you're a delicate little flower. It doesn't care about you. Now, with that being said, the world doesn't hate you. It doesn't want you to fail. It just is.
Your comfort zone is irrelevant. What matters is, what are you trying to do with your life? Future you is going to give you advice on what to stop, what to start, on what a more courageous action would be. What's the first thing they would tell you to be or do to be more courageous?
See, if you're going to put in a day, just put in the whole day. And if you're going to take some time off, take it all off. Take the whole day off. If you're going to work a day, work a good, long, hard day. If you're going to play all day. Either work all day or play all day.
And those are the times when you want to run and hide. You gotta be able to find energy. You gotta make up games, make up tricks, make up whatever you can to get to the next evolution of life.
If you want all these things in life and you're just thinking that by some miracle of life it's going to magically happen, you got to wake up. The only way to get what you want in life is to get to work and go and get it. To look at all your adversity and all the excuses square in the face and push yourself out of your comfort zone to achieve what you want.
I'm letting you know that you got to make the opportunity happen. You got to be fired up. You got to be hungry for it. You got to have the desire to push yourself.
We do not retreat. We do not give up. We do not surrender. And the reason why most of you are not successful is because every single time stuff's not going your way, you give up, you quit, you let go, and people feel weakness. They feel it. You can feel when somebody's not committed, when they're not all in, when they're not dedicated.
I want you to focus on what's going to make you better and not make you weak. I want you to focus on moving forward and not moving back. I want you to focus on making your life greater and not making it weaker. I want you to focus on doing something that's going to make other people better. I want you to shine bright. I want you to lift people up. I want you to stay productive. I want you to stay strong. And I want you to keep living the life that you've been given.
If you quit, if you never start climbing, if you never take that first step, you'll never get there and you'll forever live in regret. Just know that if you keep climbing, if you keep learning how you can get to the next level, you will soon be exactly where you need to be.
I like the saying, always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded.
There's so many individuals out there that are so talented in different things and never accomplish anything. The world is filled with talented people. You know a lot of them yourselves, right? And they never accomplish anything. With talent has to come preparation, has to come action, has to come development of being able to take those talents, take those skills, continue to develop them, continue to sharpen them physically, continue to sharpen them mentally, because at some point your physical talent is going to diminish.
So the greatest things in life take sacrifice and discipline. And that's why so few people achieve great things, because they don't want to sacrifice, they don't want to discipline for something greater.
And it doesn't stop if you don't make it stop. So recognize the excuses are not valid. They aren't. They're trumped up. They're conjured up. They're fabricated. They're lies. And how do you stop the lies? You stop the lies with the truth. And the truth is, you have time. You have the skill. You have the knowledge and the support and the willpower and the discipline to get it done.
If you are alive, you have another opportunity to begin again. A new opportunity. Get up and get after it.
If you have a dream, don't just sit there. Get your ass up and make something happen. Sometimes you just have to move. Do something. Make a call. Reach out to someone. Google something. Learn something new. Write down what you need to do in order to make a better life for yourself. And be brave enough to do those things.
And I know seeking discomfort sounds odd. Not many people do it. But you have to learn to embrace it, because it's the only environment where sustained or exponential growth can occur.
And in order to change, in order to build a business, in order to be the best parent, the best spouse, to do all those things that you know you want to do with your life, with your work, with your dreams, you're going to have to do things that are difficult, uncertain, or scary, which sets up this problem for all of us.
So continue to grind. Grind with everything you got. Be strong every day of your life. No matter what comes your way, keep grinding.
Men, women are made in the image of God. And what does that mean? Well, if God is that which confronts potential with truth and courage and makes what's good out of potential, that seems to indicate that we have the same faculty. Like, on a smaller scale, we're not omniscient, but we're not bloody well nothing. Our conscience is integrally tied into the structure of being in some manner we don't understand. And it certainly is the case that we take what isn't and turn it as into what is. That's something, man. That's quite the trick we've been able to manage. And so we're made in that image. And so what are we supposed to do? Well, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to type our letters and make our phrases and construct our sentences and build our paragraphs and put our chapters together and make our books and communicate to people and straighten out the damn culture and constrain the malevolence and ignorance that besets each of us and push nature back and extend ourselves out into the unknown and confront the potential that's there in the illimitable quantities and make the world better than it could be otherwise, to move it away from hell, and it can certainly become that, and toward heaven, to the degree that we can manage that. And that is a good enough goal. That's the thing. You need something, because your life is tough, it's hard. You need something that, you need something to get out of bed for and fight for. And then think about maybe that's something you could contribute to. Then it wouldn't have to happen anymore. And that would be a good thing. God only knows what great things we could manage under such conditions. We're becoming incredibly technologically powerful. What would it be like if we became equally wise? Well, that would really be something. God only knows what we could manage in the next 20 years or the next 100 years, We're running at 40% most of us, because we're half in and half out. And it's not surprising because life is difficult. What if you were 90% in or 95% in? Or are all in? Because you're all in anyways, right? It's a life and death game. No one gets out of this. Everyone dies. Then you might as well commit yourself to the highest good that you can attain, because why not? It'll imbue your life with meaning. It's hard. The responsibility is there, but all the meaning's in the responsibility, and that'll make your life better, and it'll make your family's life better, and it should make your culture better. Maybe it'd make the world better. It's like, that'll justify your damn miserable existence at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're wondering what the hell you're doing here. And that's a good thing, because there's going to be days when you're aching and tired and sore, and there's people in your family that are sick, and you're cynical and bitter, and you need a reason to get up, and you think, yeah, well, a little more heaven and a little less hell, maybe I can pull that off today and tomorrow and next week. And that's worth struggling forward for. And so that's how it looks to me.
So if you want to do something, if you thought about something you want to do, take it head on. Decide that you're going to start looking at it. Start doing research on it. Start tackling it. Start becoming involved in whatever and wherever it might lead you, to begin to explore the possibilities in that particular thing that you're seeking, so that you can begin to learn all you can about it. Decide that you face it, that whatever shortcomings you have, that you're going to strengthen yourself there. Whatever training that's required, that you're going to go get that training, that you're going to get started right now. That George Washington Carver would say, do what you can, where you are, with what you have and never be satisfied. Always strive to be more than that which you are. Don't get satisfied with yourself. Always know that wherever you are, you can enjoy more, that you deserve more. But most people, you know what they do? Most people go through life quietly and safely, tiptoeing to an early grave. Find out what it is you want and go after it as if your life depends on it. Why? Because it does. Your ability and willingness to discipline yourself to accept personal responsibility for your life are essential to happiness, health, success, achievement, and personal leadership. Accepting responsibility is one of the hardest of all disciplines, but without it, no success is possible. The failure to accept responsibility and the attempt to foist responsibility for things in your life that make you unhappy unto other people, institutions, and situations completely distort cause and effect, undermine your character, weaken your resolve, and diminish your humanity. They lead to making endless excuses. There is a direct relationship between the acceptance of responsibility and the amount of personal control you have over your life. This means that the more you accept responsibility, the greater sense of control you experience. There's also a direct relationship between the amount of control you feel you have and how positive you feel. The more you feel that you have a high sense of control in the important areas of your life, the more positive and happy you are in everything you do. When you accept responsibility, you feel strong, powerful, and purposeful. Accepting responsibility eliminates the negative emotions that rob you of happiness and contentment. In every situation, the antidote to negative emotions is to say, I am responsible. Then look into the situation to find the reasons why you're responsible for what happened or for what is going on. Your intelligence is like a double-edged sword. It can cut in either direction. You can use your intelligence to rationalize, justify, and blame other people for things you're not happy about. Or you can use your intelligence to find reasons why you're responsible for what happened and then take action to solve the problem or resolve the situation. You can make excuses or you can make progress.
I have 2 rules for setting goals. By following these rules, you will achieve a great deal and become more than you ever could have imagined. Here's the first rule. Don't set your goals too low. In leadership training, we teach a similar guideline. Don't join an easy crowd. You won't grow. Go where the expectations are high. Go where the demands are high. Go where the pressure is to perform, to grow, to change, to read, to study, to develop new skills. I belong to a small group of people that conducts business around the world. You would not believe what we expect of each other in terms of excellence. Why? So that we can each grow. So that we can contribute something unprecedented to the benefit of the group. It's called living at the summit. Go where the demands are high. Go where the expectations are so strong that they motivate you, push you, urgently insist that you not remain in the same place. That way, you will grow and change. So don't set your goals too low. What about the guy who says, well, I don't need much? He is guaranteed not to become much. Here's rule number 2 for setting goals. Don't compromise. Don't sell out. There were some things back in the early years for which I paid too big a price. If I had known how much it was going to cost me, I never would have paid that price. But I didn't know it at the time. Don't sell out, and as the old saying goes, count the costs. Remember, in that ancient story, Judas got the money. That sounds like a success story, and it is true that 30 pieces of silver in those days was a sizable fortune. But having a name that is synonymous with traitor is not what I would call a success story. Interestingly enough, when Judas got the money after becoming a traitor, he was unhappy. He wasn't unhappy with the money. He was unhappy with himself. You see, the greatest source of unhappiness doesn't come from the outside world. The greatest source of unhappiness comes from within. To alleviate his unhappiness, Judas tried to return the money, but no one would take it back. So he decided to just throw the money away. Why would he throw his fortune away? Because he was so unhappy with himself. Of course, that wasn't the end of the scenario. Throwing his fortune away did not change what Judas had become, a traitor. In total frustration, he hung himself. Why did Judas have such a tragic end? Because he was so unhappy with himself. He sold out. He paid too big a price. Don't compromise your values. Don't compromise your virtue. Don't compromise your philosophy. There are two words from ancient scripture you need to keep in mind. The first is beware. This is the negative word. Be aware of what you become in pursuit of what you want. Don't sell out. Indeed, if Judas were to advise us today, he would tell us to beware. The second word, behold, is the positive one. Behold the possibilities and the opportunity. Behold the drama. Behold the awesomeness. Behold the uniqueness. Behold the majesty. What a positive word, behold. Set the kind of goals that will transform your life. That will make you far better than you are, far stronger than you currently are, and you will behold.
Then the moment you become conscious of those unconscious behaviors, you're out of the program. You're only in the program when you're unconscious, and so it takes an enormous amount of energy and awareness to separate from those programs. And then there's those emotions that we feel every single day that are so familiar to us that we don't even know what they are. We just feel guilty. We don't even know it's guilt. It's just how we feel. And the stronger the emotions that we have to experiences in our life, the more altered we are inside of us. When the chemistry changes inside of us, the brain narrows the focus on the cause and takes a snapshot or a series of snapshots, and that's called a long-term memory. And so then it makes total sense then that a person, by every time they relive that event in their life, they're making the same chemistry in their brain and their body, and their body's literally believing it's living that experience over and over again. And now the body's so in the past that it's the mind of the past. So then the act of becoming so conscious that you don't go unconscious is a changing of consciousness. How many times do we have to forget until we stop forgetting and start remembering? That is the moment of change.
Reality can be a bit of a moving target, literally. We're used to thinking of reality as something fixed and certain. The way we've always been taught to see it isn't the way it really is. And if you're going to learn how to be your own placebo by using your mind to affect matter, it's vital that you understand the true nature of reality, how mind and matter are related, and how reality can shift. Because if you don't know how and why those shifts occur, you won't be able to direct any outcomes according to your intentions. If you can imagine a particular future event that you want to experience in your life, that reality already exists as a possibility somewhere in the quantum field, beyond this space and time, just waiting for you to observe it. If your mind, through your thoughts and feelings, can affect when and where an electron appears out of nowhere, then theoretically, you should be able to influence the appearance of any number of possibilities that you can imagine. From a quantum perspective, if you observed yourself in a particular new future that was different from your past, expected that reality to occur, and then emotionally embraced the outcome, you'd be, for a moment, living in that future reality, and you'd be conditioning your body to believe it was in that future in the present moment. So the quantum model, which states that all possibilities exist in this moment, gives us permission to choose a new future and observe it into reality. And because the entire universe is made of atoms, with more than 99% of an atom being energy or possibility, that means that there's a lot of potentials out there that you and I might be missing. However, this also means that you create by default as well. If you, as the quantum observer, look at your life from the same level of mind every day, then according to the quantum model of reality, you're causing infinite possibilities to collapse into the same patterns of information day in and day out. Those patterns, which you call your life, never change, so they never allow you to affect change. So the mental rehearsal I talked about earlier is certainly not idle daydreaming or wishful thinking. It is, in a very real sense, the way you can intentionally manifest your desired reality, including a life without pain or disease, by focusing more on what you do want and less on what you don't want. You can call into existence whatever you desire and simultaneously fade away what you don't want by no longer giving it your attention. Where you place your attention is where you place your energy. Once you fix your attention or your awareness or your mind on possibility, you place your energy there as well. As a result, you're affecting matter with your attention or observation. The placebo effect is not fantasy then, it's quantum reality.
I think that the greatest belief that you could have is the belief in yourself. And when you believe in yourself, you believe in possibilities. And when you believe in possibilities, you have to believe in yourself. So people that enter this work come with a certain amount of chronic disbelief that they could actually change their life or change their health condition. When you see the scientific research that in 7 days, a novice meditator, their biology literally looks like they're in a different life. And they're in a ballroom, and there's nothing very special about a ballroom. I've been to thousands of ballrooms, but the environment isn't that stimulating. That those changes are coming from within. You see the data and you look at how cancer cells, actually the energy in cancer cells, when you take the plasma of meditators, advanced meditators, and you subject that plasma to all kinds of cancer cells, 70% of the mitochondrial function actually diminishes in the cancer cell. Cancer cells love to multiply and they love to move. You take energy out of the cancer cell, you're taking life out of the cancer cell. When people see that data, it gives them hope. It gives them the idea that it's possible now. When someone stands on the stage with stage 4 cancer that has spread to their bones, to their uterus, to their lungs, to their liver, to all the tissues of their body, and you ask any physician who's seen stage 4 cancer in bones, it's very unlikely you're going to see a reversal. And you see the person stand on the stage and tell their story, and it's not glamorous, it's a real life story. And there's no evidence of cancer in any of her tissues any longer, no cancer in her bones. The PET scans show that there's a complete reversal. That's the 4-minute mile. That's the person speaking the truth. And invariably, somebody in the audience is examining that person's story, and they're thinking, if that person can do it, I can do it as well.
So when you change your energy to alter a belief or perception about yourself or your life, you're actually increasing the frequency of the atoms and molecules of your physical body so that you're amplifying your energy field. You're turning up the speed on the atomic fans that make up your body. As you embrace a heightened emotional creative state like inspiration, empowerment, gratitude, or invincibility, you're causing your atoms to spin faster, just like the fan blades, and to broadcast a stronger energy field around your body, which affects your physical matter. So the physical particles that make up your body are now responding to an elevated energy. You're becoming more energy and less matter. You're now more wave and less particle. Using your consciousness, you're creating more energy so that matter can be lifted to a new frequency and your body responds to a new mind. So how does matter become lifted to a new mind? Think of the preacher who moves into a state of religious ecstasy and drinks strychnine with no biological effects. How did he overcome that chemistry that would normally poison the average person? It was his level of energy that transcended the effects of matter. He made a decision with such firm intention that his choice carried an amplitude of energy that transcended the laws of the environment, the effects on the body, and linear time. In that moment, he was more energy and less matter, and as a result, it was a new energy that rewrote the circuitry in his brain, the chemistry in his body, and his genetic expression. In that present moment, he wasn't his identity that was connected to his familiar environment, nor was he his physical body, nor was he living in linear time. His elevated consciousness and energy were the epiphenomenon of matter. In other words, it's both information and frequency that give rise to the blueprints of matter. And when we're demonstrating an elevated level of awareness and energy, it's these elements that influence matter. Because matter is created from a lowering of frequency and information, you'd have to agree with me that your body is made up of a vast array of atoms and molecules, and that these atoms and molecules form chemicals. Those chemicals organize into cells, which form tissues that further organize into organs, which create various systems within your body. For example, a muscle cell is made of different chemicals, proteins, ions, cytokines, growth factors, which are made of the different interactions of molecules, which are made of various atomic bonds. Those atoms share an invisible field of information to form molecules. The chemicals that make up a cell also share a field of information. It's that invisible field of information that orchestrates the hundreds of thousands of functions of the cell at any given second. Scientists are beginning to realize that a field of information exists that's responsible for myriad cellular functions, existing beyond the boundaries of matter. It's this invisible field of consciousness that orchestrates all of the functions of the cells, tissues, organs, and systems of the body. How do certain chemicals and molecules of your cells know what to do and interact with such precision? There's an energetic field surrounding the cell that's the summation of energy from atoms, molecules, and chemicals working together in balance that gives birth to matter, and it's that vital field of information that matter draws from. For instance, the muscle cells in the previous example can further organize and specialize into tissues called muscle tissue. Let's say that the particular type of muscle tissue in this example is called cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle tissue forms an organ called the heart. The tissues, which are made of cells, share a field of information that allows the heart to function in a coherent manner. The heart is part of the cardiovascular system of the entire body. As it shares this field of information, it organizes matter to function in a harmonic, holistic way. So the field that's created that gives birth to matter is what controls matter. The greater the field, the faster the atoms vibrate, or the faster your subatomic fan blades spin.
And when people finally break free from those chains of the emotions that they live by on a daily basis, when they break free of their habituations, even in the way they speak, when they overcome their hardwired beliefs that they've thought over and over again until they accepted them without any analysis, when they overcome that programming to a certain degree, that wholeness that they feel is the healing in and of itself. They're not waiting for their healing or their health to change so they could feel gratitude, so they could feel whole. They actually understand that when they feel gratitude and they feel wholeness, that's when their healing begins. So then anything that causes us to move out of that state within us, a reaction or response from someone or something in our life that would move us from that state of grace, I promise you, if you're truly in the river of change and you wanted to heal, you would think about how you would respond differently to that person or circumstance the next time, so you wouldn't lose that feeling, because you would actually no longer be signaling the same genes in the same way. The moment you felt familiar emotions, you would be signaling old genes. And so the person who understands the what in what they're doing, and the why, that if I live by this emotional state every single day, if the environment signals the gene, okay, and the end product of an experience in the environment is an emotion. If I live by this emotion, I could signal genes ahead of my environment, and I could actually change my health. Now, this is when meditation no longer becomes a have-to. This is now when meditation becomes very practical, because the person is going to rehearse in their mind how they are going to think in their day, what they are going to believe. And they're going to repeat it enough times, and a belief is just a thought you keep thinking over and over again until it becomes hardwired in your brain. They're going to review that belief, and they're going to keep firing and wiring it. They're going to change the way they respond to their coworker, to their spouse, to their boss, to the news. They're going to change their response, and they're going to rehearse it in their mind. And mental rehearsal, as you know, changes the brain to look like it's already happened. They're going to say, I got to feel this feeling. If it takes me 100 times today to feel this feeling, I'm going to bring it up 100 times over and over again, so I get so good at feeling it, I can bring it up whenever I want and stop from default, right? I think when people do that the overcoming process is the becoming process. That so many people have healed in this work and they didn't even realize that when they were sitting and their body was raging and out of balance, and they were working with settling it down and overcoming those survival emotions, overcoming those programs, those habituations, that overcoming process was actually the becoming process. So many people, when they actually got to the point where they were so happy with themselves, so in love with themselves, so in love with life, so grateful for being alive, they could care less if they had their health condition. They no longer identified with it any longer. That was the moment it went away. And you ask that person, where is the disease? They'll tell you it's in the old person. They healed themselves by changing themselves. They're happy with themselves now. They don't want to be anybody else.
What is the #1 killer of dreams? What do you think is the #1 reason the majority fail to live a life they love? What is the #1 reason why people fail to succeed at any level? It's not luck. It's not lack of money or opportunity. It's certainly not circumstance. It's fear.
What is your giant? Name it. Is it fear? Is it anxiety? Is it insecurity? Is it doubt?
You're never going to have a fear-free existence. I mean, some fear is acceptable and legitimate. There are some things that you really should be afraid of. Now, you shouldn't allow it to immobilize you. You acknowledge it, you take it into account, and you carry yourself accordingly. There are times that we should proceed with caution, but it's the difference between being stopped by fear. It's the difference between having a fear and the fear having you.
Decision's yours and the outcome is yours. It is that simple. It has nothing to do with the outside world. There's no excuses when it comes to happiness.
It's time to pull that energy from fear, doubt, anxiety, out of competition and comparison.
You acknowledge your fears, you embrace those fears, and then you move on. You act on whatever it is that you fear. Because once you embrace it, see, what you resist will persist. What you resist will persist. So one of the most important things is to begin to embrace your fears.
If you look upon every step forward as a learning experience, and every setback as a valuable lesson that has been sent to you to make you stronger and better, you will not be afraid to launch in faith into the unknown.
Fear can cause us to play it safe, but playing it safe will never be fulfilling. Start with small risks. Sometimes it's as small as asking a coworker for help with a project or trying a new class at your gym. The smaller risks build confidence and make room for larger ones. Once you're ready to challenge yourself and face something large, the more confidence you will build and the less fear will exist.
And when that thing tells you to quit, you look at it in his eye and say, I ain't going nowhere. I will break you before you break me. You will not defeat me. You will not destroy me. Lay hold of it.
I get it. I've been there. I still haven't. Guys, it's normal. It's part of the process. How are you going to look that in the eye and defeat it? That's what makes somebody successful. It's not about having a perfect plan. It's not about going down the smoothest highway. It's about taking things that pop up and punch you in the eye and hitting them back twice as hard so that you can keep moving forward.
Every one of us has two voices inside our head. One voice is you.
the real you. The you that knows exactly what you want to do, what you want to have, who you want to be with, and where you want to go. The other voice I call fear. And this voice is the voice that is always telling you what you can't do, why you can't have that thing, why you can't be with that person, why you can't get where you want to go.
Don't let your journey start fueled by hatred. Let it be fueled by the drive to succeed. You have it. You have the potential to move forward and make it past your fears, to make it past your self-doubt. You are higher, bigger than how you perceive yourself. Design your life the way you want it to run. Make your life better for you to live a happier life.
Now, the only person you should strive to be better than is the person you were yesterday. Who were you yesterday? What did you change? What did you want to do? What are you going to do? So, what are you going to change? How are you going to improve? So you need to move past your old attitude. You need to change your ways. You got to change your mindset and be better than you were yesterday, because you're no longer you yesterday. You are you today, and you will be you tomorrow.
You got to overcome fear. The moment that you overcome fear, then your opponent is bankrupt. There's nothing they can do. You're going to have to dispense with fear and with negative self-talk. Remember your why. It is the why that gets us to win. And it is the why that gives us the power to persevere through the how.
You've got to ask yourself, how long am I going to allow this to hold me back? That fear is false evidence appearing real. That is an illusion that we create in our mind. It is a state of mind that can be changed.
As long as you got air in your lungs, you have an opportunity to improve your current situation. So human up. Accept the challenge, change your associations, and soon you will find yourself receiving accolades and congratulations. But first you gotta say I do to the new you and commit to a lifetime of small wins that at times will seem meaningless and pointless.
Are you in a position to quit? Or are you in a position to go harder? Are you in a position to go stronger? Are you willing to dig and go as far as you can in your life? Are you willing to suffer?
So don't wait. Don't worry about what if. Don't think of it as magic. Don't think of it as lottery. Make a list, execute the list, do that every single day for the next 10 years, and you will be where you want to be. I guarantee it.
You need large amounts of self-discipline to deal courageously with all the fear-inducing events of your life. This is probably why Churchill said, "Courage is rightly considered the foremost of the virtues, for upon it all others depend." The fact is that everyone is afraid, and usually of many things. This is normal and natural. Often fear is necessary to preserve life, prevent injury, and guard against financial mistakes. So if everyone is afraid, what is the difference between the brave person and the coward? The only difference is that the brave person disciplines himself to confront, deal with, and act in spite of the fear. In contrast, the coward allows himself to be dominated and controlled by the fear. Someone once said that, with regard to warfare, although it applies to any situation, the difference between the hero and the coward is that the hero sticks in there 5 minutes longer. Fortunately, all fears are learned. No one is born with fears. Fears can therefore be unlearned by practicing self-discipline repeatedly with regard to fear until it goes away. The most common fears that we experience, which often sabotage all hope for success, are the fears of failure, poverty, and loss of money. These fears cause people to avoid risk of any kind and to reject opportunity when it is presented to them. They are so afraid of failure that they are almost paralyzed when it comes to taking any chances at all. There are many other fears that interfere with our happiness. People fear the loss of love or the loss of their jobs and their financial security. People fear embarrassment or ridicule. People fear rejection and criticism of any kind. People fear the loss of respect or esteem of others. These and many other fears hold us back throughout life. The most common reaction in a fear situation is the attitude of, I can't. This is the fear of failure and loss that stops us from taking action. It is experienced physically, starting in the solar plexus. When people are really afraid, their mouth and throat go dry, their heart starts pounding. Sometimes they breathe shallowly and their stomach churns. Often they feel like getting up and running to the bathroom. These are all physical manifestations of the inhibitive, negative habit pattern, which we all experience from time to time. Whenever a person is in the grip of fear, he feels like a deer caught in the headlights of a car. This fear paralyzes action. It often shuts down the brain and causes the individual to revert to the fight or flight reaction. Fear is a terrible emotion that undermines our happiness and can hold us back throughout our lives. Aristotle described courage as the golden mean between the extremes of cowardice and impetuousness. He taught that to develop a quality that you lack, act as if you already had that quality in every situation where it is called for. In modern terms, however, we say, fake it until you make it. You can actually change your behavior by affirming, visualizing, and acting as if you already have the quality you desire. By affirming, by repeating the words, I can do it, emphatically whenever you feel afraid for any reason, you can cancel the feeling of I can't. Every time you repeat the words, I can do it. With conviction, you override your fear and increase your confidence. By repeating this affirmation over and over again, you can eventually build your courage and confidence to the point where you are unafraid. By visualizing yourself performing with confidence and competence in an area where you're fearful, your visual image will eventually be accepted by your subconscious mind as instructions for your performance. Your self-image, the way you see yourself and think about yourself, is eventually altered by feeding your mind these positive mental pictures of yourself performing at your best. By using the act as if method, you walk, talk, and carry yourself exactly as you would if you were completely unafraid in a particular situation. You stand up straight, smile, move quickly and confidently, and in every respect act as if you already had the courage that you desire. The law of reversibility says that if you feel a certain way, you will act in a manner consistent with that feeling. But if you act in a manner consistent with that feeling, even if you don't feel it, the law of reversibility will create the feeling that is consistent with your actions. This is one of the greatest breakthroughs in success psychology. You develop the courage you desire by disciplining yourself repeatedly to do the thing you fear until that fear eventually disappears. And your ability to confront, deal with, and act in spite of your fears is the key to happiness and success. One of the best exercises you can practice is to identify a person or situation in your life of which you are afraid and resolve to deal with that fear situation immediately. Do not allow it to make you unhappy for another minute. Resolve to confront the situation or person and put the fear behind you. When you identify a fear and discipline yourself to move toward it, it grows smaller and more manageable. What's more, as your fears grow smaller, your confidence grows. Soon, your fears lose their control over you. In contrast, when you back away from a fear-inducing situation or person, your fear grows larger and larger. Soon, it dominates your thinking and feeling, preoccupies you during the day, and often keeps you awake at night. The only way to deal with a fear is to address it head-on. Remind yourself that denial is not a river in Egypt. The natural tendency of many people is to deny that they have a problem caused by fear of some kind. They're afraid of confronting it. In turn, it becomes a major source of stress, unhappiness, and psychosomatic illness. Be willing to deal with the situation or person directly. As Shakespeare said, take arms against a sea of troubles, and in so doing, end them. The companion of fear is worry. Like twin sisters, fear and worry go around together. Mark Twain once wrote, "I have worried about a lot of things in life, and most of them never happened." It has been estimated that 99% of the things that you worry about never happen. And most of the things that do happen so quickly that you didn't have time to worry about them in the first place.